Yeah.
Like,
Test 1 2, test 1 2, 1 2.
oh,
1
he's
2,
got
1
a
2,
hot 100
1 2,
voice.
1 2.
That's what he has, ladies and gentlemen.
85 it is, I just
Breakfast
moved
Club.
ya.
Here we go. New York City.
Yeah, mic check 1 2, 1 2.
Welcome to the Jasmine Star Show, where we talk about life, business, and everything on the in-between. This is back with our co-host series, Marcus A. Player Murphy.
Wow.
That's what we do.
Player.
Yeah, no one's ever said that.
Wait, what do I get? He gets Player Murphy.
Yeah,
I'll debut your nickname at the end. Y'all, we are joined by Billie Jean. Now, here's the thing with Billie Jean. We met years ago. We were a part of a mastermind here in LA, and I got to see you up close. And then I got to see who you are online. And it's beautiful to see that who you are offline and online are the same thing.
Thank you.
I'm very happy that
Wait, can I pause? Because that is the compliment that I appreciate the most.
Okay.
Because I never want anybody to meet me and be like, you're different. So that you just made my day.
And
Thank you.
Okay,
that's better than Marcus Player.
Yeah,
that's it. Billy's same as on camera, Jean. Yes,
doesn't have the same ring. I'm afraid.
Yeah, it does. It's good.
We'll stick with it. We'll stick with it. So one thing that I will do to up-level it is I wanted you to be on the show. Well, Marcus curated the guests. And so he made a list, and I was like, I really want Billy to be on the show. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say that the same thing that you take as a compliment is exactly why we are so tight. Like, it's the reason why, like, you know how you look for people in this world and just in our world, that authenticity is tough, bro.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find. And so when I sit around and I look at people
Are you
like
saying there's a lot of fake people in the industry, bro?
No. Yeah, lots of fake. Anyway, I think you guys totally vibe. And the reason why I really wanted this conversation is because you're the same person in that way.
Yeah. Also, we do business different, like really different. And so that's where I want to start first and foremost, because we will get into origin story. But first, people are listening to a podcast and they want to know what's in it for me.
Yeah.
How am I going to learn? What am I going to do? And so, Billy, you came in and you're like, how do I serve best? And I'm like, be 100, share the real deal. And then let's talk about action steps. Like people want to take action. So in a recent Instagram post, you mentioned that you make a handful of quality content pieces.
Yes.
Just a handful. And then you run paid ads to those things. And so people are like, that sounds like the dream. I do a few key things and then put money behind. Like, how did we get there? And what is your firm belief about it? Because it's super different than what I do.
It is. So let's address that. There is no right or wrong. There's just what's for you.
Right.
So I think we're on the same page there because, like you said, different approaches, but probably same beliefs. Both care about helping people. So we probably have a lot of similarities, but our route to get there is different. So take me. Let me tell you what I don't want to do. I don't want to post 12 times on Instagram. I don't want to comment back to a single person. I'm playing Xbox with my daughter, going to her basketball games, chilling with my fiance, hanging out with my friends and family, posted up in San Diego and La Jolla. I drive a golf cart around and I play tennis all day. That is exciting to me. That's what fulfills me. And at the same time, while I'm doing that, I still fulfill what I believe is a duty, which is to help other people. And I do that with advertising. So what you just mentioned is, it's not that, first of all, posting 1 million times a day, I should be doing. It would reach more people. It would make more money. I literally just don't want to. I just enjoy, just doing me. So I don't want to knock it, because if you're hearing this, you should do it. But if you're as stubborn as I am, then here's the game plan. Make one awesome video that teaches people, educates them, etc., and then put money behind it and let it run every single day. So I give an example, take creators, for example, like a musician. Somebody makes a song and they're a local artist and everybody in the community hears it. And so then they move on to the next song, but they forget the rest of the world hasn't heard that song yet. There's still 7 billion people who need to hear that song. Just because you're over it, just because the message ain't new to you, doesn't mean it's not new to someone else. I remember that. So to me, I curate my greatest hits, my best speaking gig, my best videos that I make, my best posts that I do, etc. And then I run ads and show it to new people every single day. So while we're here today, I'll spend about $10,000 to $20,000 on ads. I'll reach 1 to 3 to 5 million people. It will sell my. And then after this, I will continue watching the season finale of Too Hot to Handle. Dude, like, this is simultaneous. To me, that makes sense. That fits my lifestyle. And I've tried, like, you know, in the last decade, I've tried a lot of times to be like, all right, Billy, you're going to do your content thing. You know what I've learned about myself? I don't like to do the content thing.
Okay.
And I'm learning to accept that.
We wanted to start the conversation. I'm going to turn this over to you, but I really wanted to distill what just like went down right now. Billy presented what he wanted to talk about in his perspective as a value add. There are some people who know they should be doing something and just won't because they know who they are. So first and foremost, identifying who you are and then building a business around those things. Yes. And then kind of just being a little irreverent around other people's opinions.
100%.
Okay,
Marcus. 100%. Love that.
I've never had anybody in my inner circle say no to me more than Billy Jean.
Okay, well, see, this is what I want this conversation about. What did he do?
No. So what I'd want people not to miss is the fact that Billy doesn't do anything Billy doesn't want to do. And in fact, the no's are so important, even to people that like I love Billy, but I know there's boundaries. And actually what is beautiful about that is like when you're saying no, you're saying yes to something that really matters. And like when we have daughters and we talk about this quite a bit, we have families. And a lot of times I feel like it's really hard when you're building content and trying to be out there and everywhere to set those boundaries and to say no. I love this version of Billy because there is a very clear, like, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Yeah. And in fact, you can't say no unless you know what you want. And I think that's something I hope people didn't miss is like, if you don't know what you want, it's really, really hard to say no.
And that's changed. I appreciate you saying that, but that's changed with the seasons, right? So like, I'm 12 years into this digital marketing game. Our ads have been now seen 1.5 billion times. We work with some of the largest franchises in the world. I've spoken at the stages. All of the that I wrote down on the list as a kid of like what I wanted to do, thank God, a lot of support and hard work, I accomplished it. So now it's like you have to create a new vision for yourself. And this new vision of myself is Kailani. That's my baby girl. Brittany, that's wifey. My homies. But before, I was saying yes to everything.
Yep.
I said, how many audience you got? Oh, you got 3 people? That's cool. Come on, bring them. Let's go. Like, you got 6? Come on, together, that's 9. If I can do 4 of these today, I hit 30. You know? And somebody mentioned the other day, they said, like, when you get 30 views on a post, people get demoralized. You want to delete. But if that was 30 people in a room, you feel a different way about it. Right. If it was 30 people in front of you, like, oh my gosh, everyone's all eyes on me. And so just every human matters, you know? But in the beginning, it's just hustle. Like in the beginning, it was no sleep. In the beginning, it was, you know, travel here, do this. It was harder to balance time with my baby girl. Like that was the season. You have to build, right? You have to, you know, treat the soil and plant the things before you can just walk out into the garden and just eat tomatoes and apples. That makes I don't garden.
Tomatoes and apples, bro. Clearly you don't garden.
You're not a gardener.
Like, I know there's work to be done before you do it, and I just have my chef cook it. But like whatever.
That was a subtle flex.
Chef came later, you know. But you got to take it in steps. So
Jeff's good, by the way.
Yeah,
she's fire.
She's great.
She's
so
really
I just tell everybody like be aware of what season you're in, so you don't ever feel bad for yourself.
Okay, so we had the very Instagram version of this conversation.
Okay.
I liked it. But I want to know, what did he say no to?
Oh.
Like, let's get,
Man, that's a good question. You know what's funny? There's 2 things. Personal stuff, Billy has rarely said no to. He's always supported me. We support each other. I feel like we always try and do that. When it comes down to like, hey, I want to bring this business opportunity, Billy would be like, that doesn't fit, right? And I feel like not just doesn't fit, but it's like, actually, that could be a lot of money for us. This is what trips me out. It's like, this could be big for the money and for maybe Dan, the COO of their business. And he's like, but nah, man, we're really focused on what we're doing.
Like, nah, man, it's season premiere of Too Hot to Handle.
but because money, money is not my thing.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Okay, but wait. Do you say, as somebody who's rich, money doesn't matter?
No, because
it's like,
that changes. Yeah, you meet rich people like, are you kidding me? Why do you care so much about money? But like, nah. Like, first of all, let me be clear. Money's I love it. It's great. There's that. But also didn't come that way. Parents, born and raised Southeast San Diego, same here. But both my parents grew up on welfare. Like, my mom was one of 13. You know, I feel like everybody has a sob story, but to give context, you know, grandfather was murdered, uncle was murdered, drug, sexual abuse, prison. These are normalities in my life. I got lucky because my father got really good at sales. So he was selling cars. So my dad was making 6 figures And he was the first one in all of the families to do it. And when I said 6 figures, you make $100,000. If people are in poverty, you're rich, right? Yeah. So later, they took us out of a situation, put me in private Catholic school, and that allowed me to see all the opportunities. So when I say I'm not a money guy, I'm a super, like, I appreciate it, and I understand how it can help and serve people, and I think you should all value it. But at this season in my life, if somebody's like, hey, I'll give you $1 million, but you're gonna steal 1 million minutes from my baby, oh no, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I know my priorities. You can't put a price on, oh, like, what, I'm gonna play Xbox with the homies tonight till 3? Yeah, I'm good. I don't need the cash.
Yeah.
Like,
there was a time that you needed the cash. But what's interesting though is, like, I'll bring Billy's speaking fee is $50,000 just to even turn up at a 30-minute thing. And I don't even know if that's true anymore. That used to be what it was. Yeah. But I remember being like, yo, man, there's this thing. And the funniest thing in the world was Billy would be on Xbox and be like, no. and I would sit there and part of me, when I was coming up and when I was thinking about that, I would always value that. Be like, man, if you did 10 of these, that's a $500,000 and whatever. And you start doing that math in your head and you can't believe somebody said no.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like when you talk about what we sacrifice, like I was on the road 400,000 miles a year. And I almost literally worked myself out of a great marriage and being a good dad. And
say that again.
Yeah.
Worked myself out of a great marriage. Ooh.
But isn't that
powerful?
But isn't that interesting though? Because if you don't have, let me ask you this: who else helps you say no?
Oh, I got gatekeepers like them.
Really?
Yeah, you can't get on me. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, do they know where you want to go and what you want?
Oh yeah, the whole team. I mean, Kay and Paul here on the side, like Daniel, my CFO, my assistant Sheila, like literally, I'm in a world of no's, my friend. But also, I'll say it to, if I know someone, I'm not gonna be rude. Like, I'll just politely say no. I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm good.
I really want to know Jasmine's answer to that question too. Who helps you with, like, because you have to also say no to quite a few things, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm in a season of yes, brother.
She's like, give me those $50,000 talks.
Yes, I will happily take your leftovers. I want to be a sloppy
But
second.
look, we may watch. We come here in 6 more months, and then it may be opposite. You'll be like, yo, Billy, I'm no. And it's just coincidence at this moment.
Yeah.
That's the season.
She has to support JD's
skincare
routine, bro. It's wild. It's wild.
Well, it's a 4-week facial.
Softest hands I've ever felt in my life. But yeah,
no. Here's the thing. Like, if I was the farmer, I feel like I'm planting a whole new orchard right now, and I really want to, like, hold space. Marcus had said I almost worked my way out from the thing that I very wanted, and so what I would say is that we have a conversation at the top of every year, and it's like, what do we want?
Yeah,
and then, like, what are the parameters within those things? And so, like, I'm hitting it hard, and I'm saying more yes than I am, but I got a partner who co-signed on the yes, and I got a baby girl who's young enough to co-sign on the yes, and so as long as the yes we get to do together, we're all in. So that's where we're at right now.
Cool.
But
yeah, I like that.
Yes, you get to do together.
Yeah.
Bars.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. What you just said is exactly how I run my business. So take this. This is great, right? Because we have obviously a dope setup here, by the way. But yes, I bring Kay and Paul here to film too, because to me, I want leverage.
Absolutely.
And leverage is this.
Absolutely.
Is, hey, we're gonna
yeah, what is happening right now?
Because look, like, this is dope, and this is gonna go out to your audience and amazing. But I'm like, awesome. Well, now let's run an ad, target the entire world. I want this playing in Brazil. I want this playing in Spain. I want this playing in. Well, shout out
to Mexico and Puerto Rico, okay? Because I want to be famous in Latin America, okay, papi? Let's go.
And that's funny. So the conversation I've just been having this last week with Dan, our COO, is, all right, we're going to bite the bullet, and are we going to get these translated into Portuguese and Spanish? And it's an investment, but again, just to make this live, because everyone's going to experience this awesome content, but it's like, let's amplify it. Let's throw gas. So every single time I'm not running ads to something, I think I'm like, using 10% of it as opposed to 100.
So you just mentioned something about that. I'm actually just curious, genuinely, I don't know the answer to this, but you're big in Brazil. Why?
Ad inventory is probably cheap there. I know. Like, we it's funny. I don't know, especially because most people there don't speak English.
Yeah.
Right? But the ones that do. So digital marketing is a global thing. Yes, right? Like, no matter where you are, like, people want to know digital marketing. And so after 12 years of putting out content in this space, I think it just kind of happened. And so, I spoke in Brazil, which was amazing. That felt like a pinch myself moment when we're in Brazil. And someone's like, oh, Billie Jean, I've been following you for 6 years. I started my agency here. And I'm like, across the globe. And that's what I meant, is like, those 30 views when you post something, you don't know if that's the kid in Brazil who's about to blow up. You just don't know, and never take that for granted. So it's honestly, it's humbling. It's very humbling. It's weird.
Do you talk about like, so people are listening and they hear this and they're like, I'm more in alignment to how he wants to live his life. Like he or she is in the farming season of in harvest. They're in the harvest season. So what's like tactical stuff? Like somebody who's listening and they might not have a CEO and they might not have this massive team and they might not travel with their own video crew. Like what is something that somebody can do now? They're like, there's a pop-off piece of content.
Yeah.
Okay, Billie Jean, what do I do now?
So first step is, what is that pop-off piece of content? And usually it could be an interview, a content. Like, actually, I'll kind of go real tactical for a second, take a step back. So my best performing ad right now is a Facebook ad that's in the news feed. And fun fact, it's 1 hour and 42 minutes.
So when I text you about, when I said, yo, I don't usually listen to your talks, not offensive at all. But I sat and watched this one and sat through it. And I was like, yo, that made me actually sit there and listen to this. It was an hour.
An hour and 42 minutes.
You're welcome. Only watched
You're
an
welcome.
hour.
I had stuff to do.
So first thing with advertisements is, sometimes when you post, a lot of people believe that it has to be like a 15-second punchy thing. No. Essentially, with Facebook and YouTube, you can run modern-day infomercials, is essentially what they are. Now, infomercials are kind of cheesy. It's like, buy this water glass now for $19.99. If you call right now, I'll throw in a second water and da-da-da-da-da. Like, it's none of that. It's just, I just educating people, right, and teaching them. So starting off by literally creating your perfect talk. Everything you want to say, you can literally go to, look at the local colleges. There's always almost a media department, and a lot of the interns in there are looking to actually have hands-on project to build their resume. So if you just go online and find out who the director of media is or who's teaching this, and you send them an email, hey, I have a business owner, I'm looking for a student to do X, Y, and Z. Can they get credits in exchange for this? You can get somebody for free. I'm giving this because you don't have to pay for this stuff, right? So there's a lot of people who are coming into this industry that, boom, they'll come and film. And then the other thing that I will tell you is, if you think about the biggest movies in the world, right? Avatar, etc. Every word is planned. Every scene, the actors, it's planned to the minute. So if you're gonna make something that you can eat off of for many years to come, I've had ads I made literally 6 years ago, I still run today. If you're gonna have an asset, wouldn't you put everything into it? This is not something contrary, and you can, there's a style of content where you can just wing it. Don't wing this. This is your masterclass. This is your shot to the world. So my videos, they feel natural when people see them, and they go, God, this guy can just get on camera. No, I've just been writing for 12 years. I know what I'm gonna say. Yeah. Very rehearsed, right? So literally, that's the next step, is write out every freaking word that you're going to say. Then when you're filming, to make it look fancy, if you don't have like 3 cameras or whatever, use 2 cell phones. You and your significant other, who else is in the house, and have them filming at the same time. One is a tight shot, see how you're like all up in my face here, and then one is a wide shot, we can see all of us, hello, right? And then you have them recording at the same time. Then you can go to Upwork.com or Fiverr.com, and then you can upload your video footage and say, hey, I'm looking for somebody to edit this together and make it look really professional. Find a link to a video that you really enjoyed and you thought the production value looked sick, maybe like this one. Send it to them and say, make it look just like this. So you don't even have to speak tech or media to deliver. Just say, this is what I want the end result to look like. Can you do this? You'll probably get the whole thing done for somewhere between 25 to 50 bucks. Once you do that, you'll go into Facebook's ads manager. If you don't know how to do that, go to Google and say how to run a Facebook ad. They'll explain in like 5 minutes. There's this thing called Facebook Blueprint. It's from Facebook. It's free. Go on Facebook's Blueprint and then spend $10 a day running the ad to whoever you think is most likely to buy in. And stereotype. You can go to men, women with this age who graduated from this university, who have an interest, if you're talking to entrepreneurs, who have an interest in Shark Tank, who read Robert Kiyosaki, et cetera, that follow Jasmine. And like, you could do all of these things in a couple of a click of the buttons without being techie at all. Then, if you do not know what to say in your advertisement, ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT is free, and put in this prompt, how to write a Facebook ad to get people to sign up for a phone call, whatever. Put in anything, talk to it like it's an assistant, and it'll write the whole ad for you. So you can do all of this today to start selling.
For like,
I don't know if that was
$50.
$2. For like $10. It doesn't have to be crazy expensive or nothing.
No, but that's a really good shout for people that are sitting here going like, I just can't do it. Look at them. Yeah, I might not have 3 cameras, but it's complicated. What I just heard, even though you are literally talking yourself into a sweat, because I was, but it sounded, oh, we do, okay.
Let's go.
But isn't that interesting though, how streamlined that actually was? Because if we went back and we just did the bullet points right there, it's pretty on par with being like step 1 through 5.
But see, here I am. I think of like immediately what he just did. And I think of that is a clip that you could absolutely run on Meta. And then I think that if you were to clip out each one of the 4 to 5 steps that you just listed, that is a 15-second reel. Yeah, like, 100%. You know, I mean, like, I just think in those contexts for this long form, 1 hour and 46 minutes video, in the beginning, were you really specific around like your hook? What do the graphics look like? Can you describe like, how are you going to like hook?
Yeah. So, because she's right. You know, usually when you're creating content, that first thing out of your mouth is going to decide if someone sticks or not. Yeah. But don't forget, there's what you say, and then there's what's being said based off of the environment. So the first shot that you see is somebody's on stage being introduced, and there's like a standing ovation for somebody coming up. So we're trained when you see that situation and think, oh, something important's about to happen. Yeah. Something announcement's supposed to happen, right? And then from practice, from speaking for 10 years, you know, I start usually talks off with jokes and get people smiling, et cetera. And it's funny how everything that you do in person kind of translates online, right? It's kind of the same thing. And so there was no crazy hook. And I didn't plan to put it directly in the newsfeed, but just tested it and it worked out that way. But a big part of compensating if you don't have a good hook, and this is why I like Facebook ads in particular, is you get text with it. So the text is my hook, since I'm not saying anything. And I believe the hook is like, you know, 13 tools to make more money with artificial intelligence and less time explained in 1 hour and 42 minutes. Enjoy. I hope you like it. If you do, buy my
I feel like that's your tagline now. And it actually is. But again, authenticity counts. Because anybody else who says that is an absolute, it just absolutely doesn't work. You know, the one thing I was going to say about this, and this is so important. We actually argue about this. So I've been on, this is just for a context point, not me dropping like, hey, you know, the food in the Harvard cafeteria was really bad.
Oh, God.
So I wanted to share that.
It's not easy being an intellect, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I've been on the advisory board at LinkedIn for a while, and we constantly argue about the length of content. And I will always plant my flag in the ground and tell them, they're like, no, it needs to be like eight minutes, consumable content. And people don't learn that way. And I went, okay. I was like, have you ever sat through a really long movie?
Yeah, exactly.
Like content, it's good or bad. And people are going to be invested in it or not. And I've sat through 6 hours of binging on Netflix to watch a show to catch up to be able to talk about it with my friends. So I know for a fact that content matters to the person who's consuming it, but also like good content rises to the top.
Another way of saying that?
Yeah.
Boring will put you out of business.
Boring will put you out of business.
Yeah, that's what people have to realize. We live in a day and age where boring will put you out of business. It's not, is this content too long? Is this content too short? No, is it too boring?
Ooh,
that's a good one.
That's the only metric.
What's boring, by the way?
And okay, so what's boring? And then how? If somebody actually has enough self-awareness to be like, maybe I'm not boring. I know I'm not interesting. Like, what are those two?
I'm lame, bro. Like,
no, this is
No, I hear this all the time.
No, it's good. It's good.
People are not like, I hate myself, but they're just like, I just don't know how to be more interesting on camera.
That's a really good.
That's really good. Yeah. So the boring test is very simple. You know, make something and then give it to somebody. And see how long before they either check their other phone or they look to the left or to the right or before they just stop. Like boring is when you fall asleep, is when you no longer watch. Like that's the metric. Like it was boring because people watch entertaining, like, right? But how to be interesting or how to create interesting content if you feel like you don't have a dynamic personality. And by the way, you don't need one. So a couple of things is take out a blank piece of paper and draw a giant capitalized T, okay? And then on the left-hand side, I want you to write problem. And then on the right-hand side, I want you to write solution, okay? And then I want you to think of your ideal customer, the person who you would like to buy from you. And I want you to write out every problem that they are going through in their blank, right? So if you're helping someone start a business, you know, getting customers, you know, their logo design, their website, hiring people, and be as specific as you can. And then literally answer those questions, and that is your content. 30 problems, it's 30 different videos. And then if you're unsure of what your person's going through, you can survey, but that takes a long time. I have a better tool for you. It's called answerthepublic.com. It's answer to the public or answerthepub.com. My buddy Neil Patel, you guys know Neil. Neil Patel is the creator of it, but it's freaking amazing. It's probably my favorite online tool. So you can go in there and there's a search bar. It looks like Google, and you can type in any subject that you can think of. And it will tell you every single question that is being asked and searched for around that topic according to Google. So if you put like, water, it will show you a wheel and it will show you every question someone's asking about water. Where's it from? How long it's made? Can it stay cold? Da, 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 da. So literally you take all of those questions and they're color coordinated by volume. So the more somebody asks, the darker it is. So you literally just make your content based on what people are saying. Yeah. So it's not that, you need to be interesting. Your answer is going to be interesting because they've been wanting to know. Yes. Like when you go to the doctor's office, you don't go, that wasn't charismatic, I'm out. You're like, my knee hurts and I need to get it fixed right now. Yeah. So what's the deal, So, yeah.
This is so good. And I feel like what I get all the time, I feel like I have a filter or something because I hear what you're saying, but in my mind, it is the value is in the intersection of where people are looking to solve a problem and you can insert yourself into the solution. Yeah. Right? And so I like the idea of thinking like, how do we get into the Google searches of our ideal avatars and be the person that can not only have the answer, but get them there as fast as possible. That's kind of where the value is.
So also too, this is how, for everybody, how you build and manufacture fame is exactly that. You insert yourself into those answers and now you're famous. Fame is fake. Like fame is purchase. So like, can I tangent for a second?
Please.
So like, if you want to build a personal brand and like, again, I say this being on the other side of all this, so I kind of have maybe a little jaded lens, but I can kind of break down the whole formula. So fame, in short, is just being well-known, right? There's nothing crazy there. It's being well-known. For anything. You can be famous for anything, just being well-known. So how are you known? It's very simple. You were seen. Now, who dictates that? Historically, it has been anybody with money because to show TV ads, billboard ads, television ads, print ads, those are kind of categories of how fame has been created. It's been deep pockets. And so, for example, you take the artist of, let's just take like, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, right? Shout out to Kobe. But Kobe became one of the most famous people on the planet because think about how many basketball games played. If he has a career of 20 games, there's 80 games in a season, whatever. But how much money do you think goes into advertising those games, each one?
It must be.
Let's just say $1 million. Let's just say a $5 million advertising budget for the game. I'm exaggerating. Let's just say $1 million for the haters. $1 million gets put into advertising that game. And now he's the focal point and he's the main storyline of 82 games. So that's $82 million that are allocated to talking about Kobe Bryant. Now that's just 82 in 1 year and he does it for 20. Okay, so he's got $1 billion in ads. But then in addition to that, you also have Nike, who comes in and sponsors him. He's the focal point. Now they're spending stupid money on theirs, $1 billion in ads, etc. And he's the main guy. So he is the recipient of all of the media talking about him. And now he is famous, right? And he is one of the most famous person in the world. It's directly math. It's how much money was allocated towards you. And people say, well, like, can you be, famous without paying for it? Money is always spent. It's just about who's paying the bill. So Kobe is famous as a result of the NBA and Nike fronting a big part of that bill and everything else that he's done. The Kardashians are famous as a result of E! And Ryan Seacrest, whoever put the show together, and receiving all of those advertising dollars. But then the kicker comes along and social media comes. And the difference is they're giving away free advertising, but they're not making you pay for it, right? But they still own you. If Instagram cuts you off, like it's their dollars, the fame. So they get in Instagram early. And so Instagram plus E is promoting them. They consistently put out content. Now they're the most famous people in the world. You take The Rock. Think about every movie he's been in, makes him more famous, etc. So now it gets turned over to us, where now you can go and spend $10. Let's say I'm a real estate agent, for example. If I'm a real estate agent right now, I'm going to run $10 a day to downtown San Diego specifically on YouTube and then Facebook. And every single day, somebody pulls out their cell phone, they're going to see my face. If I consistently do that for a year, I will be the most famous agent in that area. And now I'm famous. Yeah. And then the way that you position your brand is you just design the whole thing. So for example, to kind of give you guys some tactical categories. So take like awards, publications. Let's just start there. So if I'm a gardener and I want to be famous, I'm going to apply for every Gardner award thing that there is. Because by the way, to win an award, most of the time you just have to apply. Not that many people apply. It's not as cool as you think. So then you go and apply and you get these awards. And then I'm going to spend $10 a day in that area to talk about, to show how good my award is. And then I'm going to find out who the other biggest gardeners are in the space. All right. Marcus and Jasmine, they garden too. Okay, cool. I'm going to meet them, connect with them, pay to go to their workshops, get some pictures with them. And then I'm going to spend another $10 on YouTube showing you who I'm hanging out with. So you saw my awards, you saw who I was hanging out with. And now I'm going to solve like 30 problems based on answerthepublic.com. So I spend another $10 there. This knows everything. He knows everybody and he's getting awarded for it. Am I not famous? Did I not just print my own fame for $30 a day? That's the game. That's how I built my brand. As far as digital marketers, and I say this with humility, I don't think there's a more well-known digital marketer on the planet because I bought it. Been buying it for 12 years.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like also when people I can spend a lot of money and if I can't shoot a jump shot, I think that nobody's going to want to keep spending money on me.
Yeah. I mean, you know, yes and no. I think when you have the talent, that's what amplifies it. Yeah. But let's be real. How many famous people without talent do we know?
A lot.
We live in a world where it's not the best who wins. It's the best known. Play the game. It's what it is. It's not the best who wins. The best part, the Snuggie. Everybody remember the Snuggie with the blanket? Yeah. That was like the 4th attempt before it popular. But when people see it, they go, blanket with arms, now they're rich. No, a lot of people tried it before. They didn't understand the marketing aspect. Snuggie did. They win. Yeah. You know, so.
Can we go back? How does the gardener get other media to pay for his fame?
Ooh.
Now that's a great question.
She does this for a living.
You know, I'm a podcast host, guys.
She's really good. I don't know if you know that.
So, yeah, and that's, first of all, it's hard to do. There's one. But secondly, there's a couple answers to that. I mean, one, part of it is being that good.
Okay.
Right.
So this is where talent.
This is where talent comes.
No one's gonna pay for your fame, baby.
Because yeah, Kobe, like if he wasn't winning, the dollars would not have went as far.
Exactly.
Correct. So the combination. So that is how you get attention. You actually have to be that good. And this is where the disconnect is. Because people will see something like this, they get motivated. I'm going to create content. You do it for 2 months. Yeah. Mastery takes 15 years.
Preach.
Yeah. Like, I mean, everyone knows Kobe's story, right? He's playing like in France and like LA and putting in hours for 18 years before he's that guy. So, you know, I think what's wrong with the industry now is because you can see so much online and you see people winning, et cetera, you think it happens fast, but all success is slow. I mean, it's all the same pace as the doctor, right? Doctor goes to school for undergrad 4 years and then master's, fellowship, et cetera, $350,000 in debt, same process, $350,000 in debt 15 years later. And they don't actually start becoming successful until
it catches up with them.
2 decades later when your debt's gone. Yeah. And so why do entrepreneurs think you can buy some for 2 weeks and then ball out on the same level as the doctor? It's just arrogance and ignorance. It's a combination of the two. But once you humble yourself and you say, you know what? I have work to do. And you understand the season you're in. I'm in the season. But this is not like your 3-month season like we're used to. This is like your season might be 3 years. 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. It's why successful people's story is always so interesting and inspiring. It's because it sucked at the beginning. And every great story has a part where the main character eats. That's what makes the story magic, is they have to eat. You ain't never seen an entrepreneur story.
They just kept winning. They just were bored and winning.
I haven't seen that movie. I haven't seen that movie. So, yeah.
Well, real quick, 95% of businesses fail. And I always sit around and that number, it kills me because it's not people, like I've never had anybody come up and be like, you know what, I would have made it if I just had more content. You know, like that's never been or like, hey, I would have made it if I think the 95% of people fail because they stop. Yeah. Right. So to your point about people giving up 2 weeks in or whatever, I think the majority of people listening to this show, you might fail if you just quit. Right. But I want to ask you this segue because I know this is important to you. You have 175,000 students worldwide, right? Yeah. So I know the actual
flex you just threw out there for me. Appreciate it.
I mean, I don't know if you guys know about the food in the Harvard cafeteria, but I do think that it's so important because 95% of people don't fail because of some of these things, but they do fail when they're by themselves and isolated and alone. And both of you guys have built incredible communities. And I feel like it would be a sin not to be able to talk about that. 175,000 students, 70 plus countries. Like,
I agree.
Super important.
No, I want to pause You have been on so many podcasts, and normally they start with, tell me who you are, tell me your origin story and what it is you do. And the thing that I have just noticed is it becomes so rote. And what I wanted to do is add so much value on the front end and be like, he's done the work, there's street cred. Now I really want to know, like, who are you and what do you do and how do you serve?
I'm a kid who saw two worlds. I have two tattoos. One says perspective and one says vision. They're both on my wrist here. I'm a kid who saw at an early age the wealthiest people in the world and the poorest simultaneously, or at least poorest in our country, the United States. And I've been obsessed with bridging the gap. What's the difference? And one of my coaches, shout out Jim Bunch, he said something really powerful, and it stuck with me, and it's made so much sense. And it's the kind of philosophy I have in life. He said, no man or woman is greater than their environment. And it took a while to sink in, but I believe in it because I would look at the kids at University of San Diego, which is where I attended, also named University of Spoiled Daughters. It's like that, you know. Wow. It's like balling and bougie and 50 G's a year, you know. Yeah, like it's that place. But when I look at that and I go, man, like some of these kids, like you go to the houses, just craziest things I've seen. And then I've seen, you know, violence and poverty. I'm like, what makes these people different than these people? Ooh. It's the environment. And I don't just mean physically where you're at. I mean, what's going in here? You know, when your parents yelling at you all the time and telling you X, Y, and Z, that's your environment. Instead of listening to a podcast where you're listening to, you know, this type of music that got you feeling the type of way, you know, your true environment, physically where you're at. And I noticed that anyone's story, when they come from rags to riches, because some people say, well, that doesn't matter, you can still win. Yes, you can, but it's because there was an environment change. And maybe the environment was your friends. Maybe it was a mentor or somebody you met in your life. But no change just happens. It was always an environment shift. Was it the person, place, or thing? We don't know. We have to dive into that. But I'm fascinated with that. So to me, digital marketing comes out and I realize, oh, I can plug into somebody's environment who may not be in a healthy one. I can put out a course, give somebody some game, and if they have a laptop and a phone, they can make $10,000 a month, pull themselves out of that environment physically, move to a new place, bring other people with them. Oh, that's what I'm put on this earth to do. I'm really good with video and storytelling, et cetera. I'm like, that's my jam. That's how I can help people, is I can give them a new environment here. And if I can teach people a skill, because that's really the key to making money, is a skill. You have something worthwhile to trade, right? Money's just a trade. I'll give you X amount of money. I'll trade you for this. Like people say, I want $1 million. Well, could you trade for it? If you can think of in terms of that, you can make money. So when I teach people how to do marketing, which essentially is bringing customers to businesses, and no business survives without it, now I've given them an in-demand skill. And if you have an in-demand skill, you can charge more money. Cleaning services typically don't make, well, the person doing the cleaning doesn't make a lot of money because there's a lot of people who have that skill. The more unique your skill, the more in demand your skill, the more money that you can pull in. So when I come in, when my company comes in, when our team comes in, we make content to educate people to uplevel their skill level so they can make more money, so they can change their environment. That's the whole model.
Yeah. Where do they go? Like they say, okay, I want to learn more. Where do they go?
So, I mean, trybillie'splan.com or something. I don't know. I'm sure we have some domains, but we have our courses. So I started creating courses to show people. And shout out Frank Kern, but he said something a long time ago, and it was one of those things that just stuck with me. And he just said, like, you want people to love you more, et cetera, just give them your best for free. And so two things happened. I started putting out like gangster content right in the news feed, and it started to help people. And then I put it in courses for that and started to help people. When I came into the game, I sold things, and they were very expensive. They were like, well, you know, this is like $500, $1,000, 10, 5,000, et cetera. Because I heard, you know, coach just say, you got to charge high ticket. And then I went to Fiji with Tony Robbins and my buddy Dean Graziosi, and I think Russell was there and Lewis was there. And a couple
so you changed your environment?
I changed my environment. Mm-hmm. And so we were all hanging out. And I'll never forget, like, Tony said something that really stuck with me. And he said, I have an intimate relationship with millions of people. I was like, that's kind of weird. What do you mean by that? But think about the content that Tony's put out. You know, he put out a piece of content and then it saves somebody's marriage. He puts out a piece of content and then it stops them from going bankrupt, or gets them to start one of the most successful companies in the world, or stops them from committing suicide. This is the kind of content he was putting out. And I was like, That's how you make real impact. So if I'm putting everything behind $1,000 price point and most people can't reach it, how can you really help anybody? You like, that doesn't make no sense. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to combine, kind of put my best out. I'm going to do it for free. And then I'm going to try some for cheap. So I did something crazy. My buddy Hector, who's our CMO now, we were talking and I just got back from Fiji and I'm in this mindset. And he's like, you know, what would happen if like we sold one of our courses for $30? I was like, why are you trying to bankrupt this? You know, the first thoughts, the fear, anxiety comes in. And I you know, the time in Fiji kind of kicked in my head. I said, okay, you know, we're not going to just do one course for $31. I want to do everything we've ever created in the last decade for $31. And we have, I mean, probably 60, like I can't, like, with so much content, I can't imagine. And I just said, we're going to put it all in one thing, all together. And we're going to sell it for $31. And let's just see what kind of impact it has. Genuinely, when we did it, I thought we'd make like, I don't know, like $100,000 or something. And like, that's not to be taken lightly, but like, that don't cover my bills. So I was like, $100,000, like whatever. And then we put it out there. And the next thing you know, we did $2 million that month. And it was a lesson to me. It was so biblical, you know, like I went to private Catholic school my whole life. So, you know, we put that out and it's just like, you know, the more people that you help, the more it comes back, you know, to you. And it was that moment. It was like we put it out, have thousands of people buying. We make $2 million that month, like almost all profit. It was a killer month. And we helped the most amount of people. The testimonials, like because of, this is good for any course creators. Be careful about making claims, and because the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, will smack your ass and put you out of business. So I don't actually use almost any testimonials in our marketing, but don't get it twisted. I have more video testimonials than probably anybody on the planet for our products or services, period. And a lot of them come from that low ticket, putting it out there to the world. And the that we hear and the stories that we hear, it's just life-changing. And it's so cool to know that while we're winning and the team is eating and everybody's good, everybody else is winning too. And so I just felt this synergy and this piece of like, you know, we're doing good for the world. And mind you, we still have our high-ticket things. It's like, yo, here's our $31 thing, come in. And then, of course, when we do the $31 thing, how many more high tickets did we sell? Because sometimes the value is created after the experience. So, you know, you go on an advertisement or social media, you're talking about how great you are, but nobody's experienced it. The $31 thing allowed me to let lots of people have experience, 175,000 people now, you know, and prices have ranged. Yeah, so I don't know. It just all happened, and now we're kind of in this flow state, as we say. Yeah.
Flow state anchored by tennis and Too Hot to Handle.
Don't forget.
Yeah.
So I couldn't think of a better way to kind of bookend the conversation between perspective and vision.
Yeah.
And I think that those are the two biggest takeaways for me, and also changing my environment to get a different result, and thinking about the purpose and impact that I'm having. And so for people who are watching, I feel like I can confidently say thank you for breaking it down. There was like 3 huge anchor pieces that people can take action on, at least one of them today. For people who want to go deeper with you, how are they going to connect with you? I know you may. I know you probably won't respond to the comments, but
there will be zero interaction.
So we want people to tag you so people know about your impact.
I would say the best way to connect with me is to buy our. That's it. Like, come into our studio. We have a dope studio in San Diego. But I mean, honestly, like, I think what we'll do is, I mean, in the spirit of giving, if you guys want everything we've ever created in the last decade, I'll just give it to you. So we'll put like a link in here.
Sounds good.
And we'll just hook everybody up.
Thank you.
And yeah, and then just buy the upsell on the back end. We're fine.
Can I give one flowers, like, for a friend, right?
Yeah, as many as you want.
Thanks for coming up and do this. Everybody who doesn't understand, like, this is a lot of coordination, you know, driving all the way up, like putting everything into the calendars. Everybody here is incredibly busy.
That hour and a half in a Sprinter was rough.
That was really rough, wasn't it? Yeah. But I just want to say, in all seriousness, you know, I really appreciate you. And I always have.
Well, that means a lot.
And, you know,
thank you. I appreciate it.
Just want to say
And for all the no's that you give that I got a yes, I mean, let's go.
I do want to explain why. So first of all, thank you guys for having me, right? Too bad that I respect and admire. So let's just start there. And been following both of your careers now for years. So it was a no-brainer just out of, I love to learn. I'm a student before I'm a teacher. So I like learning from both of you. So I'm going to start there. And then secondly, you can tell a lot from interactions that you have with people. And so, Jazz, we haven't spent a lot of time together, but the time that we did, it was memorable. You made an impact. And I just left with the feeling, because you don't remember everything that happens in a conversation, with the feeling of like, man, I with her. That was my quote. It was like she was cool. Like, of all the people you meet, you know?
You have to come back and do something.
It just means we have to come back. It means we have to go and carry this conversation. For those of you who are listening and watching the Jasmine Star Show, shout out Billie Jean, co-host. Marcus A. Player Murphy. I'm just gonna keep on saying that. It's like
A. Player Murphy.
I just want to
love that. It's good.
Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. It is an honor and it is a privilege. If this has served you in any which way or form, please connect with Billie Jean. Let him know, or somebody on his team will read it and connect with you.
Slide in my DMs and I'll read them and I'll feel good. Thank you so much. And I'll double tap. Thank you.
Y'all, thank you for listening. Have a beautiful day.